Sit, boo-boo.
Sit. All right, we are live. 2 minutes of football. I'm Chris Smith. Lee Mason to my right, to my double right, I guess you could call it, is Brandon Brady Fitzpatrick, and to my left is John Tadaro of Tadaro's Pizza, where we are once again for our last show before the Super Bowl. So we'll have a Super Bowl special here. John is having a big old party. He's gonna have some. What you said?
Party.
Well, I mean, we talked about what you got? Some specials.
We're gonna have some celebrities.
Oh,
We're gonna have a bouncy house.
Don't say that.
I thought you were doing like beer specials.
Oh, that we're doing.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean.
We're gonna have some pizza.
Well, it's a big old party. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 TVs in here. I mean,
Yeah.
they'll have. I'm sure the sound will be on.
Yes, sir.
It'll be nice and loud. in
Bottle
here.
service.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Now, this is going overboard. I don't know nothing about no bottle service. But I do want to thank our sponsors, Plumbing and Pink, Rusty and Lynn Greer, 864-735-7014. Chris Pryor of Service Realty, 864-380-0525. And then you can get this place at 864-603-3500. There is no delivery except through Bite Squad, though. Just so you know, you have to pick it up, and you get to see this ugly mug, and you might even see this one. Because, I'm
These two handsome devils. So.
only on Monday night. Only on Monday night. Oh, well, this is the last Monday night we're doing it here, because then we will be doing our next show, which will be the last show of the year, the Super Bowl special. Second to last show, excuse me. Because we'll do one right after the Super Bowl at some point, and then the show after that will be the NFL draft special that we do, and then we'll do a free agency special, but that's not, we're talking July at that point. So yeah, so let's talk about last night's game. We'll start with the first game. I kind of felt this was coming, especially watching Brock Purdy get smashed in the elbow, and Josh Johnson having to replace him. Eagles beat San Francisco 31-7. Is that right?
Something like that, yeah.
I got the right. I want to make sure I got the right score. 31-7. Because we already were having a good time at my house by then, and that just extended into the second game. But yeah, Hurts looked like the MVP. There's no question about that. Had a great game. Even though San Francisco's defense did everything they could, Bosa was pressuring them. You had Dana, who's the next to Bosa, was also in there a couple times. You had Fred Warner out there trying to defend some tight ends and wide receivers, as San Francisco D usually does, but unable to overcome, Monte Smith and A.J. Brown and that whole crew, and Jalen Hurts. I don't see any resemblance of any type of injury anymore. That shoulder injury.
So let me ask a $1 million question. Like, and this is the obvious question, would it have been a better game with Brock Purdy? And before you answer, say yes. Like, would it have been a blowout? Like, would Brock Purdy have kept it in the game as dominant as the offense was for Philadelphia?
Talking about no injury at all?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly. I tend to agree. So
I think it would have been 31-20.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
I think it would have gone down to the wire.
I think both offenses would have had like a gunfight on
Because,
it.
part of it, too, was the defense just got worn out. That's why they gave up.
Yeah, that's all they had. That's all they had.
If San Francisco's on the field more and could move the ball and could do more than a handoff or a 3-yard, then you're not going to go 3 and out.
Right. Well, yeah, the defense did spend
And
a lot of
fumbles
time.
and just a turnover.
Oh yeah.
So-
The defense did for San Francisco
And
spend a
honestly,
lot of time on the field during that game.
I don't know why Shanahan didn't just say, okay, putting anybody in that can throw the ball more than 3 yards is going to be better than putting Purdy out there and just handing off or doing screen passes. Like, They said that
And he could barely do
they
it.
said McCaffrey was the emergency quarterback. What you do is you have some wildcat plays, and then you say, all right, on the plays we're going to throw it, we know you don't know, like, just like you're 12 years old. And you do this, and just
Simple
chuck
action.
it.
Hot route.
Yeah,
And then slant route.
like that would have been better, and they would have had more of a chance than what they did.
Yeah, at one point, I think, I'm sorry.
No, fire
At one
away.
point, Jusic and McCaffrey were scrambling to find a helmet with a radio on it.
Yeah.
It turned into a mess. But you brought up something in terms of Shanahan. My guy McDermott is up for Coach of the Year, but I don't think he's going to get it, even with all the adversity the Bills have gone through. I think that Shanahan definitely deserves it because he's working with 4 quarterbacks and patience, and they got to the championship game. And I feel like that is as good as coaching as you have to
Well,
do.
the vote for Coach of the Year happens before the end. It happens right at the end of the
So
regular.
we're talking right now, top roll. You went through Trey Lance, who was your boy that you drafted, and you said,
Terrible.
screw Garoppolo, we're sticking with him. And then you got Garoppolo as your backup. And so Trey Lance goes down, Garoppolo gets you to like where you need to be, and he goes down, and then no one knows about Brock Purdy. And then he gets you to the NFC Championship game. That coaching had to have been as patient and as well methodically thought out as you could get. And that's where I feel like Shanahan, his coaching ability, I feel like really stood out this year.
So what do you think he was thinking on the plane ride back? What are they going to do next?
Steaks and hands or pots and pans over the kitchen we have.
What do they do next? Do they let Garoppolo go?
Now that
Well, they only signed him to a 1-year
It's a
deal,
one-year
so he's a
deal,
free
so
agent.
he's a free agent, but do they reach out? Do they offer?
we talked about this last week. Is Trey Lance still your boy? You can't be. You have Garoppolo and Purdy. Like they can get you there.
I mean, that's going to be an interest. Well, Garoppolo is a free agent. We'll see if he sticks. We'll see if he sticks in San Fran.
History.
Yes, with
But
injury history.
I mean, like I said before, hey, I would love the New York Jets to sign Jimmy G. That would be great. I think. I don't. We'll talk about this later about their offensive coordinator hire, which has led to all the rumors.
RELAS.
But if the 49ers have, all right, so there's 32 quarterbacks. If they have a quarterback that is 16th or better that stays healthy, they win the Super Bowl next year.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, and they would have won it this year.
With McCaffrey.
And they would have won it this year if they had
Stay
to.
healthy. Do you use Trey Lance's draft capital?
If you can.
I mean, does he have any capital?
I think, I don't think he has any
capital.
capital, and I think here's what's gonna happen is, whether or not they re-sign Jimmy G, there's gonna be a battle in training camp. Kyle Shanahan is gonna have Trey Lance, he will have Brock Purdy back at that point. The UCL injury is out, he's out for 6 months, but he'll be back in time for training camp. And so, it's going to be interesting to see. They're going to have a battle. That's what it's going to. Kyle Shanahan is an offensive, quarterback-minded head coach, and he's not just going to give the job, especially after what Purdy has done, and considering the injury that Trey Lance has. So it's going to be interesting to see. And then if they go out and sign Jimmy G again, you throw him into the mix.
Well, let me ask you
He'll
this.
be a huge quarterback.
If you were Jimmy G, would you go back? I personally wouldn't. I wouldn't have that nice guy mentality about that because
Listen, they signed him to a $16
we
million deal. What
The only way you're going to get
I mean, seriously.
they signed him to an
And
incentive.
Yeah, I was going to say, that whole contract was restructured. He lost all that.
He
He lost all that
That
big
he
money.
had
And
guaranteed.
he only would get money if he met certain incentives, which he did. So that's the only way you get paid. But that money, that all that money got taken away from him.
And see, I don't really see Jimmy G going anywhere other than the state of California or the state of Miami. Like if Brady leaves, he might go to Tampa because that's where all the porn stars are. So, and Jimmy
And
loves
go
the
Florida,
porn stars.
California.
Here we go. Here we go.
So,
Let it turn, Clyde. I do want to say something though about Jalen Hurts because I didn't think Jalen Hurts looked as good as he had yesterday. He missed a couple of deep balls that during the season he wasn't missing. He was even short on some of the short routes. I didn't think he was there yet. I feel like give it a couple of weeks. I think he'll be in a good spot.
I mean, yeah.
But I was surprised. I thought because he missed an A.J. Brown early in that game on a deep ball that I think he's hit every other time this season. I was just surprised at that. I didn't quite have the touch that he's had in the past.
Use the term MVP. You think he'll win it?
I think so.
I feel like
I think Mahomes is.
I think he gets
No.
over Mahomes.
No, I think he gets it over Mahomes.
But Mahomes,
I think he had much better.
Mahomes deserves to be in the conversation, definitely.
I just feel like the injury hurts.
Yeah.
I think that's
He
going to
missed
help
a couple of
the
games, and
whole. Missed
Mahomes
a few games.
has some better stats, and they were the #1
With the
seed in
phrase
conference.
most valuable player, Mahomes wasn't out. You saw how valuable Jalen Hurts was to the Philadelphia Eagles. Gardner Minshew had one good game and he still lost it. And then all of a sudden, the other two, they lost. Those were their only losses.
Yeah, but if the Chiefs didn't have Mahomes, they'd be average.
I mean,
But maybe 9-8.
you couldn't have seen that. That wasn't there. So, but one thing I noticed about yesterday, and it hasn't dawned on me because I haven't watched a lot of Philadelphia games, but they're really good at just RPO. Like just run pass option, that's all. If you're on the weak side, 3 and 4 over here, they run it right on the 3 side. And they're really simple and black and white football. And it works. It's like they rediscovered how to play football to some degree. And I was really impressed on how just simplified they are. And yeah, they had some mishaps, but they still won it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it was a good game until the second quarter. No, seriously, that's when Brock Purdy got hurt. And then they had to put in Josh Johnson, who I don't think has played an NFL game
He's been with 11 teams.
Yeah.
He's started 9 games. He's 1-8 as a starter.
Yeah, he's a journeyman.
I'm gonna go back and sit. My seat's warm on the bench.
Right.
I'm really comfortable over here.
Collecting that paycheck.
Yeah, he's made some nice money.
Yes, he has.
Well, I mean, Colt McCoy's made some nice money. Who's the all-time winner? Why can't I think of his name?
Chase Daniel.
Chase Daniel. Charlie Whitehurst.
Yeah, Charlie Whitehurst just made a bunch of money.
These guys have made their living as backup.
Oh yeah, Chase Daniels made it.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, he's over $60 million.
Yeah.
So
You put Fitzpatrick there. He's not really a backup, but you put him in the conversation as a travel guy.
Yeah, he was a
you
backup.
know, he is the only quarterback to ever throw more than 30 touchdowns for the New York Jets in their history. That's true. He threw 31 when he was the
And
starter.
I personally love the guy. Share the same life.
That's because they only played 12 games when Namath was there.
Well, that's because Namath was.
They only played
That's
twice.
I got in a conversation
That's
with
because
someone.
Namath was drunk.
I got in a conversation with someone the other day. I didn't think Namath was that good of a quarterback.
I mean, he's got more interceptions in his career than he does touchdowns.
And he's
But
he's
won
right
a
out.
But he won.
Hockey guy.
Listen,
He's balling.
Baltimore
Yes.
Colts were a heavy favorite in that
Yes,
game.
they had Johnny
Somehow-
Unitas.
Some way, he pulled that out.
Yeah,
That's all.
that's why. It's slingshot in the dog.
Down to
And then he marches off the field like this. But I'm like, he goes around. Yeah, he goes around and thinks he's hot shot.
I agree. I think if you look at his career, I
Yeah.
might be slightly off, but I really do believe that he's got more career interceptions than he does touchdown passes, or they're neck and they're even.
And
It's a
the
bizarre
Jets got
stat.
rid of him. He ended his career on the Rams, right? Yeah. I just never thought he was that good a quarterback.
You saw him play some more.
Yeah, I mean, I was there.
I was there. I was there in 1969.
Yeah, so, I don't know, some guy came in with his, I don't know. He looked at all of us and
He's like, I'm leaving.
he's like, okay.
I'm busted.
Oh, your power washing dude.
Yeah, he's the guy that was cleaning the hoods next door.
All right, so let's talk about the second game.
I didn't like the outcome.
It breaks my heart. And not just because I had money on it. I was hoping Joe Burrow would go to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row. It would have been nice, but it did not happen, unfortunately, for a combination of different reasons. One was a Dye's late hit in the fourth quarter to give him an extra 15 yards and a first down.
And he had a really good game.
He did have a really good game, but that's what he's going to be remembered for. He literally cost them the game. Because instead of it being a 45-yard field goal, it is close to a 61-yard field goal.
Yeah.
And listen, Harrison Butker is a great kicker.
He's one of the best.
He's one of the best. I don't
long kickers.
Yeah.
But in those conditions, he probably was.
Yeah. He would have missed it.
Yeah. If it had been 60 degrees, yeah, he would make it. But
You give Patrick Mahomes the first down. You just give it. Oh, he already got it. I mean, he got it. But like you accept that happened. And then the defense was back on.
Yep. And then, there's a couple, I would say there are a couple questionable calls by the referees in this game.
I've seen the memes go all around.
just like every other NFL.
Happy acronym.
Yeah, but somewhere there.
Every other.
Hold on.
Lose that game, they give up a big punt return. That was a huge play.
Yeah,
Set them up.
tackle Sky Moore.
Make a play. Make a
There you
play.
go.
They didn't make it.
They didn't make
Then
it.
you get the bad play, the penalty, which
It was a bad.
Well, yeah.
It was way more of a penalty than when Jalen Hurts got pushed. Because he still had like one, his back foot was still in.
bounds.
Yeah.
So I think those two plays.
I last week I said I think the Bengals will win because Mahomes isn't healthy, but he was healthier than I thought. I said if he was fully healthy, I'd pick the Chiefs.
We were talking
Well,
about
he was healthy enough. He was healthy enough.
Healthy. He was more healthy than I thought he was for sure. Than I think everyone thought he was.
So apparently he said that a lot of the game it hurt running, but you didn't see it. The only time you saw him win was that late hit. And that had.
Well, and they said that Kelsey, like the Saturday before the game, could barely get out of the chair in the meeting and all of that. Like, they were like, is he going to be able to run? And I guess they just shot it up, and he,
And then they lose their top three receivers.
yeah.
And
Tony goes down early in the game. Smith-Schuster goes down.
Yep.
Hardman goes down.
Yep.
And they still won.
They still won.
I mean,
They
that's,
still won the
again, that
game.
goes back to good coaching. And
Patrick.
And Patrick Mahomes.
And Patrick
right.
Mahomes,
because
Marquez
and
Valdez Scantling has
Well,
a career
and the
day.
running back.
Right.
ended up
And
getting-
he has a career day, and they still win the game.
Yes.
And we spend a lot of time talking about how, this quarter, whether it's Dak Prescott or better. No, he did it with no weapons.
Yeah.
Still won the game.
And by the way,
And that's why.
He had like a 50-60% Kelsey. That was his weapon.
Yeah.
and why would you put the Bears about? And I get it. Like,
Oh, the Burrow.
like, okay, he's won. He's not very good. He's played there. But you're still an Arrowhead. You don't mess around with the Chiefs. Don't.
Yeah, but did you see? Whoa! But did you see all that?
Joe Burrow's best, like.
No. But did you see Travis Kelce on
And he
stage?
just now got his name right. He called him Burrows for like 3 years.
Yeah.
It's Burrow.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you always put an S on it. Yes, you always did. Anyway,
We'll go back to the video.
Yeah, he has a little bit on him. He's like, I know Joe Burrows. I know Joe Burrows. Mama.
But some of the comments after the game when Mahomes and Kelce were on stage accepting
This is
Lamar,
actually-
Well, you can talk after the game.
Yeah, you won.
After the job is
You
done,
won.
You can talk.
Don't talk. Don't poke the bear before you go into the game.
Hey, it's funny how many Chiefs referred to that. Mahomes referred to it after the game.
Burrow
press
had,
conference, saying that really got under their skin.
People
really
said they're
annoyed them.
smoking
Helped them
Burrows.
focus.
Smoking Burrows.
That's right. Yeah, we don't have any. What Mahomes say? We don't have any cigars. But
We don't have any cigars. That's what he said.
yeah.
Patrick Mahomes' dad goes, someone goes, oh, are you smoking a cigar? He goes, no, I'm smoking a burro. And I'm like, oh, your whole family's a shit. Because Brittany Mahomes was on fire last night.
Who?
Brittany Mahomes was on fire last night.
Oh, I wasn't.
Oh, man. Of course she was. But and Pat and what's his name, Jackson. Both of them. They should get married together.
Oh, Lord.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, you heard me, Patrick.
Well, his dad used to be a pitcher for the Mets.
Yeah, we all
Apparently
know.
his dad's a big.
And the Twins and the Rangers.
Yeah, I remember.
All right.
The Twins. That's
Yeah,
right.
that was his first stop.
All right. So do we want to do Super Bowl prediction now, or do we want to wait towards the end of the show? End of the show?
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about this coaching carousel, which I've got some updates for. So for the Falcons, Ryan Nielsen, former Saints assistant coach, is now hired as the defensive coordinator. My first thought was Ryan Nielsen.
Yeah.
I mean,
about to ask that.
that's my first thing. Carolina Panthers obviously hired Frank Wright
I
as
love it.
their
I love it.
head coach. You love it because he used to be the Bills
But
quarterback
I
back in the
always thought,
day.
no, separate that. I thought he was a good coach. I thought.
I think he got a raw deal in Indy
As soon as
myself.
he got fired, I thought he'd be okay.
I thought he got a bad deal in Indy. He was always dealing with these old washed up
And
quarterbacks.
Irsay's hard to deal with.
And Irsay, well, yeah, because he's drunk all the time.
Well, and
The guy's got more
Bill Boswell.
DUIs than any
And
other
then
owner.
Billy Joel.
Than Billy Joel. If you've got, no, seriously, the guy's been arrested, I think, every year, the past 5 years for a DUI. You figure if you own an NFL football team, you
could have a
would have a driver and find a staff member, an intern, somebody to drive you. Somebody. For all the guys.
He owns Indianapolis too. He pretty much owns like everything.
Well, if he owned Indianapolis, he wouldn't get getting pulled over by the cops all the time and getting arrested. Let's be honest here. I mean, you see him at the games too, all bloodshot eyes.
He's red.
He kind of looks like
He's a mess.
he kind of looks
He's a
like
mess.
one of our friends here.
No, he's a mess. But no, and Wright gets to go home. He played for the Carolina Panthers late in his career, so he gets to go back to
Still
where
has
he
a
played.
house there.
Yeah, so it should be interesting.
Do I feel like it's a big splash that Carolina needed? No. I think Carolina really needs a Sean Payton. Like they need someone like
Yeah, but
that.
Sean Payton's.
But dude, I'm not saying that he's gonna go there.
Yeah.
I'm saying someone like that. Like Sean Payton's not.
Well, he would go, but they're not gonna give the ninth pick to their division rival who can turn around and grab somebody that's gonna kick their ass.
But just to be clear, I know Sean Payton's not getting it, but I'm just saying they need someone
You
like
need
that.
somebody who, when you put the
No, they
name up
don't.
on the marquee.
I think Frank Wright is fine. I think
Yeah, what's that?
they need a big time D coordinator. I really think, and this is jumping ahead of it, but I don't want them to take a quarterback at 9, and I don't want them to trade up for any of these quarterbacks available at 9. I would rather re-sign Darnold for another year.
Baker Mayfield.
No, he's gone. He's
So you
gone.
wouldn't get that guy, you wouldn't get that guy from USC? You wouldn't try to get the guy from USC?
He's not available.
Yeah,
Hey,
Caleb Williams.
He's not available.
He's unavailable. He's not young.
Yeah, he's too young.
oh, I thought he was.
So is the guy from Kentucky.
Never mind, never mind.
Carolina.
No,
Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina.
I could have
Well,
sworn.
Will
that
Levis
was
from
that
Kentucky is available.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud is available.
But you wouldn't even go for CJ Price.
No, I don't want him.
I agree.
No,
Not at all.
I wouldn't want Bryce
And-
Young.
and
They're
then-
too small.
And they're
Bryce Young
projecting, and they're projecting that kid from Florida. I'm like,
Oh, Richards, Anthony Richards.
he shouldn't go higher than the 3rd round. No, I'm serious. I think.
Well, no, this draft is very short on.
So,
Are we
right.
back to back in Florida? That was like 2 episodes.
But
So
that's
to
the
me,
problem.
to me, that's why you keep Darnold, because this is the first year he had a good offensive line. He was young and improving. He played pretty well once he was healthy. They need big time wide receiver and a little, like maybe a little bit more on the D line, and that's what they need to do.
You just said is what makes me crazy about GMs in the NFL. You just said it. That's all that's available this year. So then don't make
Exactly. Don't give up and don't give up the farm.
Don't give up the
for-
farm to get a guy who's a 3rd-rate quarterback.
Yeah.
That's what makes me
Incidentally-
crazy about
incidentally-
the Blake Bortles and the Blaine Gabberts and
And
the
the
Mitch
Zach
Trubisky's
Wilsons.
and the
Zach
Zach
Wilson.
Wilsons. That these teams, just because they're the best available, doesn't mean they can play. It just means it's a bad crop of quarterbacks. What are we doing?
Incidentally, I turned him on to a game that you actually played at GM. Has he showed you this?
No, yeah, I will show you. You'll sit there.
You won't even.
Although I think if Bryce Young was bigger,
Give him a couple inches.
for sure.
I don't disagree. And we can't make him.
Right, exactly. And I'm not even really talking about.
If
height,
Tyler
like,
Murray,
Oh, okay, you're talking about just the
yeah, because he's like Tua. I just think I can see him just getting destroyed. So.
But if Kyler Murray was bigger, he'd be better. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but he's not, and he sucks.
They get a few of Jefferson again. Every week Jefferson makes a cameo. He's like the bear. He's like the bear on game day. He's like the bear on game day.
He's gone.
What?
Yeah, he's gone.
Where'd he go?
He's going
He's not
to,
on. He's not
He
on the
left
show
already.
anymore.
He got his own show?
no, he's going to another network. He's going to,
Oh, that sucks.
and it's almost like he's going to the McCaffrey show, but it's not. Like, it's
Oh, okay.
something like that.
Well, that sucks. And we had Cougar in the corner, but somebody botched that deal.
Sorry, everyone. It would have been nice.
Cougar, if you're listening,
If you're listening,
I'm so sorry. Come back.
Yes, come back.
please join the show.
We'll arrange for protection.
Here, kitty.
I'm kidding. Easy with that.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
Oh,
sorry.
We'll talk about it out off there.
We did talk about it 3 weeks ago, right? He wasn't here though for that episode. He wasn't here. We had a lovely woman who wanted to be the bear, but we were going to call her segment Cougar in the corner. Okay, but yeah, somebody
Sound effects and everything.
yeah, somebody screwed the pooch on that, but we won't. say
That person
the
will
name.
remain nameless.
Screw the cat.
That person will remain nameless.
I mean, did she say nobody puts the Cougar in the corner? Is that what she said?
No, actually, she could have. All right, let's go down the line. Back from the proverbial coaching graveyard comes Jim Schwartz. Jim Schwartz is back. He has been hired by the Cleveland Browns as their defensive coordinator.
Who cares? They still suck.
May the Schwartz not be with you.
It wasn't hard.
He is a terrible head coach.
He's a terrible head coach.
I mean, having what, Lions, Saints, I mean, who else? Like, those are the two that just come to
Yeah,
mind.
I actually did. I remember rooting for him because he was actually on Buffalo for a couple of years as a defense coordinator. He actually did really well. It was right before we got Leslie Frazier. But I mean, yeah, as a head coach, I think he blows it.
Yeah. Sure. Anyway, the Miami Dolphins have, and you're the Italian here. Let me make sure I say this correctly. Vic Fangio?
Fangio, yeah.
Fangio? All right.
Yeah.
A former Broncos head coach has now been hired as the defensive coordinator for the Dolphins. I think that's a hell of a hire. Just
Another
saying.
guy who's great as a
As
defensive
a
coordinator in
coordinator.
Chicago.
Yep.
Struggled as a head coach in
Correct.
Denver.
Yep. Then we got Kellen Moore, which is fired.
Let's all
by
say
the Dallas
that
Cowboys.
is that-
And then a day later, is hired as the
We all do. That's the
offensive
most
coordinator
Dallas thing you can do is get rid of your guy.
and for the LA Chargers.
Most teams wanted to look at.
Absolutely.
Like the guy had such equity of being a head coach, and then you get rid of him.
Despite all the chaos that people want to say and the lack of creativity and play calling, Dallas had a top offense.
Right.
They led the league or were in the top on the in multiple categories.
Dak Prescott led the
And
league
he
in
did it-
interceptions.
And he did it with Dak Prescott throwing more interceptions than anyone else this year, and more pick sixes than in the history of the NFL in one season.
They exceeded expectations this year. Like no one thought they were going to be this good, and they were for real at some points. But
And if you're Kellen Moore, you're saying, oh, I
Okay.
had Dak Prescott, now I get Justin Herbert, now I get Mike Higgins,
Exactly.
now I get Keenan
I don't have to
Allen,
deal with your
now I get
Jones.
Austin
I don't have to
Eckler,
deal
and
with
I don't have to deal with
moron
this idiot.
McCarthy, who doesn't know.
And he doesn't have to deal with Jerry Jones.
And
Oh, yeah.
he doesn't have to deal with Jerry Jones.
That's
the
even
number one
bigger.
thing.
Yeah. All right.
He's like, thank you.
Because you know Jerry Jones will call him in his office. Cooler jersey.
He goes to Southern
Yeah,
California.
right?
Yeah.
Where it's nice and warm, and you can go to Venice Beach. Yeah.
And he's like, man, come on.
Yeah, so the LA Rams hired the Jets' former offensive coordinator as their offensive coordinator,
Who was
Mike
that?
LaFleur.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
about knowing.
but he was there before anyway.
Well, no, that's more about knowing the brother.
Well,
I mean, LaFleur and McVay and all those
Yeah,
guys
they're
grew up
all-
under the
yeah,
same
yeah.
kind of coach tree.
Right.
They were all at the Redskins.
When
But it's not like
Right.
he was there impressive this year. Their defense was impressive.
Their
Not
defense
their
Think
was-
about,
their offense sucked.
think about how.
But look at the
Redskins
quarterbacks.
fans feel.
But look
It's
at the
like you could have had
quarterbacks.
Kyle Shanahan, you could have Sean McVay, you could have Michael LaFleur, that LaFleur,
Yeah.
McDaniel, like all
But
these
you're
people.
stuck with Ron Rivera. If I could see out of my glasses, even when it's dark out,
He's a good coach, but
He's a likable guy.
and he's a likable guy. It's top down.
It's a terrible.
You gotta get rid of. You gotta get rid of
situation.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
Because
who else we got?
as many DUIs as Irsay gets, Snyder gets sexual abuse allegations. So
Listen, yeah, I'm not even gonna go there. We can talk about that for a good 15, 20 minutes in itself. I mean, the guy hired how many different Washington DC law firms to go investigate congressional members and all these people who he thought were out to get him and bring them back a report.
Other owners,
right, yeah.
and the only
So-
person that goes, all right, fine, it's Jerry Jones. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
whip it out and show me.
Yeah. Which that I respect that Jerry Jones. He ran right into it, like head first. All right.
I was hoping to see the report on the Texans owner. That it still pisses me off what he did to Deshaun.
I don't know why you always say that.
I mean, Deshaun Watson didn't help himself, but at the same time, the guy who owns the Texans got the girl all those lawyers because he was trying to screw Deshaun Watson out of a big contract, and it was dirty.
And then Deshaun Watson got the biggest contract ever that he should have never gotten.
Well,
Yeah,
it's fully guaranteed 200. Yes.
Yeah. So where's the
I'm
woman's
just
meaning?
saying. I'm just saying is that Bill, what's his name? Bill O'Brien?
Bill O'Brien just got hired.
No, but that's who we're going to talk about next.
Come on, the McNair family.
Mary McNair, Bill McNair.
He died, so it's ran by. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, someday. Anyway, next one up is Bill O'Brien. Well, I'm not disagreeing, but the McNair.
But he's in Cleveland, so he'll never win. Great. Love it. Love it.
I mean, Bernie Kosar had a good couple years.
But still never won.
Anyway,
He got fired for being an idiot, dude. He was calling games. He got fired earlier this year for being wasted, saying stupid shit.
Bernie Kosar. All right, Bill O'Brien leaves Nick Saban in Alabama as the Alabama offensive coordinator. He is now the Patriots offensive coordinator.
It's the job he had.
Yeah, before.
Right, choice. Well, it's the same old story.
Retreads.
And that's right. Matt Patricia, Joe Judge, Bill O'Brien, Bill Belichick's trying to put the team back together again and see if you
Even Josh McDaniel, for that matter, because he went to Denver, lost the head coach.
You're forgetting Bill Belichick's son.
Give it time. He'll get fired.
He'll be back, Belichick.
But
Oh, give it
they
time, he'll
needed
be back.
to do that. They needed to obviously have an offensive coordinator, an offensive mind, not juggle Matt Patricia, who's a defensive guy, who's not that great anyways, but he's a defensive guy calling your offensive plays. I'm like, retire, Bill.
Somehow he's a rocket scientist, but he's a shitty.
Oh, he's a mad
football
scientist, yeah.
guy. Come on.
All of a sudden he lost his mind, which he's not going
I'm
to
glad
retire.
I put
anytime
this
soon.
on the 18 and over YouTube channel. There's some of the words that come out of our mouth. Just saying.
I haven't called anybody a douchebag yet.
Well, there we go.
Well,
No,
there we go.
but I didn't direct it towards anybody.
He's locked and loaded.
He's not gonna-
But,
All right.
so really quick, Bill Belichick will not retire in the next 3 years. Why? Because he's only 60 away from beating Don Shula. and he's that close, you know he's gonna win.
He's not, but you're not gonna get that in 3 years.
60 wins, 10, 20, 30. If he wins 10 games, that's only 30.
Yeah, it might even be closer to that. But
I mean, let's do the math.
I don't think he has a shot.
6 seasons,
10
10 win season.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to know what that number actually is. He's gonna have to hang around for a while. How old is Belichick? 70?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, no, he's
70.
70.
70.
Yeah. If he's not 71, 72.
No, it's all right. He's already started.
He's no spring chicken, as they say. While research, Brandon looks
okay,
at
here we go. All-time wins, leaders.
Yeah, but how?
Okay, Don Shula 347, Bill Belichick 329. So the margin's a lot narrower. So that's 3 to 4 more years. He can easily do that.
Yeah,
We'll see.
we'll see.
Bill Belichick.
We'll see what Bill O'Brien does with Mac Jones. How's that?
Or I heard this today. Who did Bill Belichick like as a quarterback at the time?
I don't know.
Jimmy Garoppolo. He did. He wanted to get
He wanted to get rid of Tom
and
Brady.
keep Garoppolo.
That's true.
Guess who's like a free agent?
Go for it.
Yeah. I mean,
Bring Jimmy G back.
Is Mac Jones really going to be? I really don't think so. No, I think he could get better. I definitely think he could get better. But is Garoppolo better than Mac Jones? He's proven it. And Bill Belichick loves Garoppolo. It's been proven over Tom Brady.
All right, you got Nathaniel Hackett, the former Broncos head coach, was hired as the New York Jets offensive coordinator.
So
There,
what
you
is-
can say it.
He was
I think
actually,
it's a douchebaggery hire.
he was actually a pretty good offensive coordinator for Green Bay. He just wasn't a good offensive coach or head coach, so. Sometimes sometimes you're not a good head coach, but you're a good coordinator, and I think that might be.
We've seen that constantly.
I gotta
Going
say-
back years and years. North Turner, Wade Phillips. All these guys were good coordinators. They weren't great.
I don't know Nathaniel Hackett from the next one. However, I think he got a really raw deal with no draft capital. He gave it all away to get Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson was a horrible quarterback. He wanted his own offense. He was like the superstar diva, and he underperformed. Now you have Jerry Judy. You have a bunch of good receivers on their team.
Oh, I wouldn't.
They're not top tier.
They're not.
Well,
Jerry
he could be a
Jerry
Portland's
solid.
Portland's
Good receiver.
Jerry Judy's a good compliment to that. And then you have Russell Wilson, who's throwing interceptions. He can't score more than 7 points in a game sometimes. And is that Nathaniel Hackett's? No, that's I don't think.
Yes. That's who lays on the
You
sword.
give him 1 year
That's what.
to put that team together.
But you got to remember, there's two issues that happened with Denver. One, they got new ownership, right?
There.
So the Walton family came in and basically the old regime had hired a GM, head coach, brought Russell Wilson in. This was not that family, the Walton family. And so they wanted a clean slate, which I get. And
But you can't do it with a
And
quarterback.
there were lots of clock management issues with him and
Crazy decisions.
Yeah, I mean,
field goals and-
like Brandon Staley type calls, but didn't win. So.
But all
you know.
right, so talk to me next year when Russell Wilson still sucks, and we'll see. We'll see.
I guarantee, I don't know who they're gonna get. If they get a better coach.
Do they get
His-
paid? Do
his-
they
But
get
again, you have
Harbaugh?
no draft capital. None,
his-
because you traded all away.
They got some back for Bradley Chubb, trading him to
Oh, fair
Miami.
enough, yeah.
But Russell Wilson will have a better year next year. I will say that.
All right. So there are still 4 head coaching opportunities available. Arizona, Denver,
Which is probably one of the
Houston,
worst. Denver
and
Arizona.
Indiana.
D'Amico Ryan's going.
Yes.
You think
I
so?
think so.
Okay. All right.
Who's the worst, going from worst to best,
Job
right now, with those 4?
The Colts.
The Colts is probably.
No, let's go from worst to best.
I would say the worst is the
Arizona.
Texans.
Arizona.
No, I'd say the Texans is the worst.
No.
Oh, that's
I don't know.
There's
There's
nothing
no one
there.
there. There's nothing.
There is
Covered is
nothing
there.
there.
in Arizona.
There's no quarterback.
But
I mean, I'm
So-
sorry, Hubbard is there.
So, no, Kyler Murray's not that great.
Yes,
You
I'm
want-
not, but
And you're not on the hook for a quarterback with a bunch of money that's not very good.
Yeah,
That's the other thing.
Hopkins wants out. You JJ Watt just retired. So you have three superstars that
No,
don't.
Arizona's trash.
Definitely the worst. And they have an owner that doesn't really know what he's doing. So
Yeah, I'm
Like
like,
Arizona, Texans, I think
It's
that's
kind of a
close.
split, kind of a half
I
and
think,
half.
why can't you throw Denver in there as third, second? Because you have new ownership. You don't have a coach yet.
But they're
Don't
gonna
know who
bring
the
in,
superstar
they're
quarterback
gonna,
is.
the new
So-
ownership is gonna bring in who they want.
And if you get
And they're
Williams
gonna give
back,
you a walk.
Javonte Williams will be
That
back.
could be
next year.
volatile.
Yeah.
So they'll have
Devontae
a
Williams.
running back.
Correct.
He was missing this year, so they'll have a big time running back. You'll have Jerry Jeudy there for another year. Cortland Sutton is back again. I think
The
that
personnel is definitely the best, really, for the Denver Broncos. On paper, you got to give Russell Wilson his, equity of how he did. He's a Super Bowl winner. I still feel like he's shitty, and Pete Carroll made him who he was. But anyway,
I mean, look what Pete Carroll did to Geno
yeah,
Smith,
right.
who basically was a backup for 10 years. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden
People were
has a
whispering every
breakout
year.
year.
Yeah. So yeah. So it goes Arizona, tied Texas, Denver, Texas, whatever. And then the best head coach job is at what, the Colts?
I would say. So.
Yeah.
So here's the deal with the Colts. Irsay, the owner, 100% wants to bring Jeff Saturday back.
And some fans here. And they signed a petition.
And yes, but the rest of the front office wants nothing to do with Jeff Saturday.
Well, and I do know this, and I don't know how active, but his daughter has taken more of a lead role in a lot of the decision making. So maybe, to me, what sounds like a good fit, Sean Payton goes to the Colts and they draft 11th.
I love it. I think Sean Payton at the Colts will turn. It actually scares me being
Wow.
in the AFC.
That would be,
That would shake up the AFC.
that would definitely shake up the.
So who's your quarterback on the Colts? You draft
Draft Will Levis.
What he said, draft Will Levis.
Will Levis.
I like Kentucky.
the kid from Kentucky.
I hear that.
Who's a big boy?
A little more of a prototypical.
Yeah.
Big,
Yeah.
big arm.
6'2".
So let me ask you this: is Sean Payton willing to start over with a brand new quarterback?
I would
Is
think
that
so.
what-
Why not?
Well, I'm just asking the question.
Well, because since the Chargers didn't open up, you're not gonna get Herbert. So
You have no other option.
yeah, like
Unless
we're
you're- right, I
like
get
unless
that.
he's gonna wait for another year. I mean,
And is that a possibility?
Yeah.
Sean Payton really want to coach right now, or is he gonna wait until like?
he might want to sit around and do TV another year and see if the Dallas job.
I mean, if McCarthy doesn't do anything next year, he's gonna be right in that Dallas job.
Yeah, I know.
But then again, is that quarter?
Yeah, is Jerry Jones gonna give that up?
Right.
No, because Peyton wants control. He wants that.
He wants to be the guy.
He wants to be the guy.
Now if McVay decides, okay, after this year, he wants out, because it kind of waffled back and
Sean
forth.
Payton will fit right
He would go to the Rams in a second.
Yeah.
Now, they'd be looking at
Still need a
drafting,
quarterback.
they'd be looking at drafting a quarterback after next year. But you're gonna have,
Caleb Williams.
Drake May, Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams,
so-
all become available.
Now that's when you're gonna have teams giving up farm to move up.
Another team with not that much draft equity because
Well,
Because
you're gonna see them,
that's why they've been so good for so
Yeah.
long is they've got.
I think they're gonna trade some players and stuff like that to try to get some of that back and try to kind of build more young. Because I think after next year, Aaron Donald will probably retire.
If they don't do
Jalen
it,
Ramsey
Jalen
will hit
Ramsey.
30
Yeah,
and
he was having problems this year. But yeah, Aaron Donald wants to be on another successful team or he's out. Like, I mean, right after the Super Bowl, you didn't know if he was going to be in it. So we'll see. You know, I don't want him to retire. He's fun to watch. All right.
All right. Super Bowl predictions. We'll go.
I think the Eagles are going to win. If I have to give a score, it'd be 38-34 or something like that. I really feel like both offenses could put up numbers. So I feel like it's going to be a high-scoring game. But Eagles come through on it. And that's, I would never want to, give another one to Patrick Mahomes. But if I knew Patrick Mahomes was going to win, I would just give it.
Okay,
Mr. Mason.
I think the Eagles have the most depth overall. I think they're solid at more positions than any other team. That being said,
Shirley from Laverne and Shirley down.
the Chiefs have the top 3 players in the
They're
game.
trying to get on the podcast.
In this game, Mahomes, Kelsey, and Chris Jones are the top 3 players. Now, the Eagles might have 4 through 10.
Sure.
But
Shirley or Laverne?
I'm not going to pick against Mahomes. So,
But he's already lost it.
yeah, because there was no offensive line.
Correct, for Cincinnati.
Yeah.
We had 3 players.
No, he's
No.
at Super Bowl.
He's already lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was because Todd Bowles blitzed every play, and it was like we were the offensive line. That's why if he had had an offensive line in that Super Bowl, they would have beat the Bucs.
I agree. So as much as the referees, and,
Here we go.
as much as the referees and Travis Kelce,
This is when we started
Patrick, hold on, hold on, just hear me out. As much as they pissed me off, and as much as I would love to see Philly beat them, I cannot root for the Philadelphia Eagles as a New Yorker. And I think.
So go with your brain.
Hold on. I'm gonna go with my brain. Just give me a moment. This is my segue. All right.
Let the brain think.
I'm a New York grad.
So I think that the Chiefs defense and a healthy Patrick Mahomes, because he's gonna have 2 weeks to heal that ankle, is much better than Jalen Hurts and the Philly defense.
Did you give your score?
Yeah, what do you think the score is going to be?
So you said Chiefs.
30-24.
30-24 Chiefs. Chiefs?
Yeah.
30-24 Chiefs. I think it's going to be 28-21 Chiefs.
Low scoring. But I guess that's not low scoring, but
Yeah, I think, look, I'd love to see Jalen Hurts win. I would. I love his story. I love his story. There's just something about it. You know, the kid, he's a hard worker. What happened to him in Alabama, going to Oklahoma, drafted in the 2nd round, doing all that. I'd
Tua
love to
taking
see-
over him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tua
that's
taking
right.
over. Look at it. We talked about
In
that.
the championship game. That's embarrassing.
But look at that. Look at the dynamic, right? Now you've
I
got
know,
Jalen Hurts in the
exactly.
Super Bowl and Tua.
The 2 is in the wheelchair.
I don't know. It's not really a woes me story.
No.
I mean,
Look, he went from
yeah,
Alabama to Oklahoma. He was
still got a ring, and you still
Absolutely.
got free ride, and you got drafted. Like,
totally. Yeah, I agree with you. But I just like Hurts' story. Yes, I think Philadelphia has the better overall team. If the 3 receivers from Kansas City are healthy and they're back. I don't know what the injury status is for Hardman, for Tony,
2 weeks.
for Smith-Schuster, but they've got 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We saw what Mahomes did yesterday. Everyone thought he was hurt. He's going to get another 2 weeks.
Yep.
I just can't see Philadelphia winning this.
right.
I think Kansas City wins the game. I think they win the game. It could be 31-21, 31-24, something in that neighborhood, I think. But I think Kansas City gets 30 plus, wins the game.
So what was your score?
31-21 or 31-24.
I'm
Something
the
in
only
that
one
neighborhood.
thinking logically, because I don't like Philly at all. I don't like any of these teams.
I mean, you're calling for 70 points. I don't know.
I think so.
38-31.
Right.
That's 70 points.
Like,
He has a good
Right.
defense. Kansas City defense is
I would
good.
assume, I haven't looked, but I would assume the spread is around the 46-48 range.
I learned-
If I had to assume.
I learned as a Bills fan.
Yeah, the over-under.
The over. I learned as a Bills fan, that guy in 15 is magic. Do not, I remember my wife saying, "Oh, we won." And I go, "No, we have 13 seconds." And look what happened. And we were up.
Well, did we
13
all pick
seconds.
Kansas City though? So we picked
So
15.
I know,
Oh, we picked 15
but I
magical
know,
too.
I know that this guy, if he has 2 weeks to heal up, he is going to do everything possible he can possibly do to win the game. So it's hard for me to pick Philly. I just think Philly is a stronger overall team right now. They are. But 2 weeks can change a lot of shit.
I mean, has Andy Reid ever lost a game on a bye or something crazy like that? Like,
Right.
he has some crazy
That's
statistics.
it, right. If he's got the week.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
he
That's
doesn't-
true. Andy Reid is almost on the lead that
I feel like we've got Andy Reid versus Nick Sirianni. I think that we gotta give a check mark to Reid there.
Or a mustache that he draws.
On the plane. On the plane.
Yeah, the Hawaiian shirt.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Nobody gonna go with this.
And that's why I will never go to save you guys.
Oh, Lord. All right. Well, this was 2 minutes of football. We want to thank you all for watching. We will be back here Sunday, February 12th.
Yeah, it is later. It's later this year.
That is later this year. It's
usually
usually next week. It's usually next week. It's
Yeah.
a week later. But we will be back here. We will be back here, probably, spitballing the time, but it's probably gonna be 4:30 to 6. We're thinking for our Super Bowl. No, two. We'll discuss. We'll get back.
We'll workshop that.
We'll workshop that. We haven't really got to that, but we will be here at Starro's. John is gonna have a big old party, with specials.
Velvet
beer,
ropes, bottle service,
And will you shut the?
big guys watching over the door.
We have to roll out the red carpet kind of thing. I don't know, maybe he does.
Maybe the Cougar will show up.
Oh, maybe. Oh.
Maybe, you know.
You are. Damn. That is just threw you. I had a whole bunch of thoughts in my head, but I do want to thank our sponsors, Pung and Pink, Rusty and Lynn Greer, 864-735-7014. Chris Pryor, Service Realty, 864-380-0525. And Tadaro's Pizza, 864-603-3500. We hope to see you down here for the Super Bowl. And have a great couple weeks, and we'll see you then.
Come and get pizza, it's phenomenal.
Thank you.
Somebody- Give it a few minutes.